Alrighty, good morning again, good afternoon. How have you been? The Fed Reserve, the US Fed Reserve had cut rates by 50 basis points overnight. Interest rate is now at 5% for the US. Tonight we have the Bank of England with their interest rate decision as well. So in this video, we'll be looking at all the trade setups that could happen. We'll break down what happened last night and look for some possible trade setups also with BOE and the BOJ due tomorrow. But first, alrighty, I'm back again. Hey Christina, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. I am I'm slightly tired. We streamed yesterday during this daily analysis, and then I did a stream last night or early this morning with the Elite Navigator on the FOMC news release. So we started at 1 a.m. Kind of looked at where prices are, had a chat about where prices could be, what could happen. 2 a.m., the news got released at a 50 basis point rate cut. Talked about that. We watched and talked about the press conference as it was happening, all the way through, I think, about 3:30 ish. Can't remember what time we ended. Right, so it's been a long, long day, but a relatively fruitful day as well. So I hope you have been trading or you had been trading the FOMC rates decision well, or if not, after that rate decision, I hope you've been trading that well as well. Okay, tonight we have another session at 7 p.m. GMT plus 8 with the um, BOE rates decision. So what we'll do now is we'll break down what happened overnight with the Fed Reserve. We look for some possible trade setups. It's all retracing, well, it's not retracing, it's kind of correcting back now. And then we'll look into the um, BOE rates decision. I am going live again with you guys at 7 p.m. I'm thinking that it's not likely to be a huge event unless it's surprise markets with a rate cut. I might not put it on private. I might go live in public on that. So, just to give you a taste of what we do in the membership section. Okay. So if you're keen on that, make sure you do check it out as well. And for the members, we got a few new members as well from last night and from today. I just saw Flang. Flang just joined us as an elite navigator. Welcome to the membership. Okay. So with all that, again, if you're on the session, do remember to click like and subscribe. Drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. It means a lot to me. I just want to know, who's on the session. Um, I kind of remember you guys, or not kind of. I definitely remember you guys. What trades you get into, what style you trade. So I try and help you along your trading journey. So do drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here, so that I can try and help you better. Okay. Um, good afternoon, Christina. How you doing? Hey, Linley. Hey, Richard. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're all doing super and fantastic. Hey, Jumarinas. Good morning. Okay. Ah, I've been, I talked about this morning. I've been thinking about it through the day. Now I'm going through it again. So, how did you go on the FOMC? Any questions right off the bat? Any questions on the FOMC, do let me know first up. Okay. And then, if not, let's look into a quick review. If you have any questions, put into the chat and let me know. Okay. Um, Nothing much from last night. We had CPI numbers for the Eurozone, didn't do too much, set right across. And then at 2 a.m., we had the Fed funds rate. As we talked about, it went from a 5.5 expected, well, there was a forecast of 5.25. It was a right before the news, there was a discussion, or there was not, there was a percent on CME Fed Watch 2. It was almost 50-50 on a 25 or 50 basis point rate cut. Got released at a 50 basis point rate cut, taking rates down to 5%. What happened from this is that the dollar index, on release of the news, shot right down, right? It just went from 100.86 down to 100.20. It didn't go as low as I expected at 100. Right, came to 100.20, but like I was thinking that it's going to bounce back up from here. It did bounce right off 100.20 back up towards the trend line, right towards the trend line. And like I was expecting as well, it got to the trend line, and then early this morning tested, rejected the trend line with a pin bar and started pushing back down again. So it's gone past where it was before the FOMC. It's gone down to 100.68 right now on the dollar index. Wait, hang on. I look like I'm okay. So that's kind of worked out very nicely. So it's bounced down, it broke down, it bounced right back up, it tested, it came back down. So I used to be very happy when I'm predicting. Hang on, I used to be very happy when I was predicting two moves. Now we're getting three moves. We're getting down, up, and then back down again. Um, so why? Why did it shoot down? Well, we know why it shot down, because it was a 50 basis point rate cut, right? It shot down because of a 50 basis point rate cut. But why did it push right back up again? I'm actually working on a video explaining, breaking down the whole FOMC and where prices could head towards in the longer term. But just to give you a snapshot right now, it broke down on 50 basis point rate cut, but it pushed right back up because of what was said during the press conference, where Chair Powell said economy remains solid, inflation persists, we can dial back policy, well, economy remains solid, labor market deteriorates, we can respond. Um, Basically, Chair Powell said he repeated solid, strong a lot, right? He said that the economy was solid, um, labor market was strong, there was growth in the economy, there was good data on retail sales and on GDP. They have cut rates now, and they expect that by cutting rates of 50 basis points, they were expecting that it's going to support the labor economy so that it doesn't slow down as much, right? They did note that it was slowing down, and they were going to keep watch of it, but they anticipate that by adjusting their policy right now, they could help, right? Not saying that they're going to totally reverse the whole thing, but they could help with the slowdown in labor, right? But he also did say that employment was close to its full employment level, which is the mandate of the FOMC, right? FOMC's mandate is to manage employment, to keep trying to get it to full employment, and also to manage inflation. So those are the two reasons why. And he was very hawkish. It was a dovish cut, 50 basis points. We're expecting another, based on the dot plot, we're expecting another 50 basis points by the end of the year, with two more interest rates decision to come. Um, so it looks like, based on policy, it was quite dovish, but based on what he was saying during the press conference, it was quite hawkish. So it was like push down, push it right back up. But it looks like policy is still winning the battle. That's why we're seeing the dollar index spike back up, or spike down, back up, and then now pushing lower again. So it needs to break that level before we could see further downside. We'll talk about that shortly. So that was what happened with the FOMC. In as easy and quickly I can do it as I can do it, that was what happened with the FOMC. Fed funds rate, economic projections, so it's where we saw the dot plot and the projections of employment, unemployment, and PCE. The statement didn't hold too much. The press conference I told you about, it was quite hawkish. With all that happening, we kind of overlook the Kiwi GDP quarter on quarter. I totally didn't bother about that. I was knocked out until nine something a.m. GDP on the Kiwi quarter on quarter, it was a 0.2, got revised to a 0.1. Expected a minus 0.4, came out at a minus 0.2, right? So that was what happened with the Kiwi GDP. In terms of the price movement at 6 a.m., there was barely any movement from that as a result of that news. Okay, barely any movement from that. Then at 9, we had Aussie employment numbers being released. It was employment change 58, revised down to 48. Expected 26, came out at 47. Right, so a good number, while unemployment rate stayed at 4.2 again, because of what happened on the dollar at 9 a.m. right there, right? We saw it pop back up, but it wasn't so much because of that data. It was more because of at 9 a.m. there, we saw the dollar test and reject, pushing back down. That's why we saw the Aussie pushing back up. Okay, so that was what happened so far. Now it's time for a bit of a breather all the way through to 7 p.m. GMT plus 8, where we have the Bank of England with their interest rate decision, looking to stay at 5%, right? Looking to stay at 5%, with 7 members voting to hold, 2 members likely to vote for a cut, and obviously, no members voting to hike. I'm not expecting a surprise here. Especially with the way the pound dollar is. It's just bouncing around in that range. So I think that it's going to stay, but by it staying will also give us an opportunity on the pound dollar. I'll tell you more about that when we look at the pound dollar. Okay, so that's the big news that we have for today. Well, for the rest of the day, not bothered about unemployment claims for the US. No big change expected. We're still dealing with the FOMC decision. Through to tomorrow, we have the BOJ with their rates decision. I think, based on a few conversations or few chats we've had with members, we kind of have a consensus that we might see the BOJ disappoint. Which, at where the where the yen is, the US yen is right now, it might be a good thing, right? If the BOJ disappoints, we might see it push the yen back up, or weaken the yen further, push it back up. But that's tomorrow between 10 to 12 o'clock. So we'll wait for that. Ultimately, right now, everything is still, or most of it is still going to be driven by the volatility, the directional bias of the dollar index. Okay, does that make sense? I just rambled on for a good 15 minutes, so let me know if that makes sense. And while you're telling me if that makes sense or not, Richard shorted gold from the top. Fantastic. I reanalyzed that. I traded it up to 2600, just below 2600. Didn't dare to sell it out. It was coming crashing right back down. I didn't dare to sell it down. Just before I went to sleep, put in a trade, put the break even, stop loss to break even. Um, it went back up and hit me out at break even. So I'm flat on gold. Lindy, thanks for the trader's mindset. Very good. I hope you work. It's quite a document. So I hope you work through that. I hope you get good value out of that. So again, haven't, if you're not already on my mailing list, do jump onto the mailing list. The link is somewhere. The link is here. I'll put it into the chat again. Right, the link is there. Jump onto the mailing list. I'll send you it. This ebook I've been writing. I've done it so many thousands of versions. I finally just went, no, just finish it off, um, and send it out. So it's done. I hope it helps you guys. I hope you go through it. It's available, no charge at all. Jump onto the mailing list. I will send it out to you. Okay. Um, Diana says the euro is climbing nicely. I sold that down. I made a quick trade on that this morning. Closed out of it as it was outside the Bollinger. Then it went right back up. I'll tell you about that shortly. Hey, John Drow. Hello, how are you doing? Good to have you with us. Welcome. Angel Case, good morning. How are you doing? Erwin, good to see you again. Hey, Basanta, how are you doing? Basanta has been killing it. He's been killing it on the US yen and on the Aussie yen. So very happy to see that, to hear that as well. Naren made a fistful of gold of dollars on gold from 25.98 to 25.60. Brave man, well done, good job. I'm super happy. All right. So I started the session. I was a bit tired and this and that, but seeing how you guys are making good trades, good profits. I hope it's well managed to risk, not over leverage, not over trading. I'm super happy. I'm energized with what you guys are doing. Right? Super. Elvin missed the FOMC stream yesterday. Members feature not available in country. Oh no. Which country is that? That's terrible. Um, I I'm new to the members features thing, so still trying to sort it out. Get on a VPN. Get on a VPN. All right. On my analysis, Nambia. Okay. I don't know. I have to figure that one out. Okay. Okay. So now, with all that said, let's jump into it. Where am I? Dollar index. Okay. Dollar index. We've done all that. It's zigged and it's zagged and it's bounced and it's retraced. Let's take all that away. That's done and dusted. All right. Take all that away for now. Now zoom right out. And this is where it's going to be important and interesting, because if we take that away, you see that the dollar index came down. We had that low, it came back up, it tested that 61.8 and that trend line identified before, rejected to push right back down. Okay, rejected to push right back down. At this point, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, where I'm going to say that, hey, as it pushes down, like I said slightly earlier, policy still wins. As much as Chair Powell had been saying, is trying to be hawkish, is trying to suggest that labor is strong, employment is strong, activity is good, there is still that big question is a recession around, right? There has been data over and over the years that every time the almost every time the Fed uh, cuts rates after a short period of time, a recession comes around, right? So that's still the big question. And policy is that if cut 50, they're possibly going to cut another 50 in the next towards the end of the year. Um, it looks like it's going to be more downside. Okay, but we can clear that one out. That's all there. That's good. Now the big question here is on the dollar index. What's going to happen at this 100.60 level? You can see already that it's found coming close and it almost doesn't like it as much. Right, in terms of Bollinger, it's still within reason, but it's dropped right down and it doesn't like it as much. So today being the 19th of September, always been under your grace. Well, I, I I do what I can to help. You guys are the one clicking the mouse button. Okay, so 61, that's done. I don't think I need that up. Okay, well, you see, sometimes it's good to just test your fib levels because just from the bottom, from the news to the top, you can see that it's just found at 61.8 level, and that's why it's hesitating. Okay, um, I feel like it's not completed the move yet. What I mean by that is the dollar, right? Currently at 100.60, right? I'm actually thinking that it could bounce to retest the bearish trend line, right? So what I mean by that is that it could, ooh, what am I doing? Right? What I mean by that is it could from here bounce back to retest the trend line, and then after that come back down again. Right, so just trading that down. Ultimately, the big question is what's going to happen at 100.60. So it's currently at close to 100.60. It could bounce to retest the bearish trend line for that downside. The thing here is if 100.60 broken, could test 100 round number. Okay, so I'd like to see it do that, but then we could see it do that and back down again. The upside limit would be at 101.40, which is about that 61.8 level and at that area there. So that's the upside limit there. 101.50 actually would be a good limit. All right, so that's what I'm thinking on the dollar index. Maybe some resumption of strength coming back up again. All right, cool. I like that so far. Then on to Kiwi. We don't need that now. All right, onto Kiwi. We expected that to test and bounce and break to the upside. It tested, it bounced, it broke up. Didn't go as high as we thought before coming back down again. Let's take that away. I don't think any of you traded the Kiwi. It wasn't one of the highlights for the night yesterday. Trend line is still there, adjusted. Now, thinking about how the dollar is sitting at this point, it could gain some strength and then push back down. This is again where I would start suggesting that it's not, you might have done a lot of good work through trading the FOMC. It's not worth going too crazy with other trades, right? It's not, I mean, as much as we want to make money, it's about capital preservation, profit preservation as well. So, what I would, you might not have a lot of trades, but what I'm looking for here on the Kiwi would be for it to get up, test that resistance at 0.63, look for a reaction there, then maybe look for it to come back down or break higher, right? And if you look at it on H4 time frame, if it breaks 6.3, can go to 6.360, but it needs to get past that point first. So wouldn't do anything on the Kiwi yet, right? So Kiwi, I would say, hang on, let me just think again. Right, it could do that. So if it's sitting there and it doesn't push up, then we're also looking for it to break and push down. So yeah, that makes sense. So now Kiwi, um, I'm going to look for a reaction at, well, could trade higher. Not going to do anything. I'm going to look for reaction at 0.63 resistance. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, that it pushes up. Could you trade this up if you wanted to? 6255, 40 pips up, 20 pips stop. I would say that that's possible. I would say that that's possible, but not something I would. If I had nothing else to do, no other trades to get into, maybe I'll do this one. Okay, so I'm going to put that first. I'm going to buy 0.6355, oh, 6255, sorry. Stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. You see that trying to push back down a bit. Then onto the Aussie, right? That worked out. Well, it came down, it would have hit your stop. You shouldn't have entered there just before the news. News would have gone up, hit that resistance, came back down, hit your stop. Resistance you should have closed. And then again, a second round to the upside. Now, Aussie dollar at the resistance of 6822. That was where it reversed from on the 29th of August. The next level up is where we have it on the 29th of December. Right, so what we're looking at here on the Aussie, I think more likely the Aussie that I'm going to wait will be that it pushes up, test that area, then we'll look to sell it back down. Nothing. I wouldn't do anything here. Right, again, remember that we just saw relatively good news on the Aussie employment numbers, so that should support a bit of a push to the upside, but I want to see a reaction along that point. And I would even like to see a clear rejection back down. So what I'm actually looking for 6, 8 that way. 25 to 40 back down. Right? So I'm thinking that it could sit around here. If we're entirely wrong, or the dollar not weakening further, it could sit here and push back down. That would be a short trade and then back up again. So it would be down and then back up, that kind of move. Well, if it's that kind of move, then what you should be doing instead is look for it to bounce off that trend line. We don't need this. We don't need that. That's the December level. That's the June level. Okay, we'll still keep that. Okay, so we look for that. Diana says I'm looking at short Aussie 6854. Yeah, so around that point. So that's why I'm thinking that you could look for it to push back down a bit. This would be, what am I doing? This would be bounce off the trend line, 6785. Stop loss would be about 30 pips. Take profit, you have 60 up to this area, like that. So we could see that, and then that back down. So that would be the short term move that we're looking at. 6870 would be good. 6780 to the upside, then you have your 70 pip move. It could just sit there and push up, but I'm not going to rush into any trades today. I'm looking for that retrace. So 6780. Oh, I have it there. 6780, 30 to 70 to the upside. Okay, there we go. Naren says with Kiwi, I prefer Euro Kiwi. Okay, well, I will skip. Well, I won't skip, but that's the Aussie Kiwi, right? It's tested and rejecting, pushing back down. Didn't go as high as we thought. 61.8 came close. Take that away. Pushing back down. You want to see it test this level 1.09. I I think what we're going to see is that again. So I wouldn't do anything on the Aussie Kiwi. All right, so again, Kiwi pushing up, you might have that quick trade to the upside, that 40 pip move. Aussie dollar sitting right there could very well just push up and turn back down, or push up and then figure the next move. I'm looking for that, or push down and bounce. I'm not super keen on either, right? Just because um, Aussie and Kiwi, they have that resistance area, that very strong resistance area, and it's quite wide area. So it looks like it's just going to be testing the area, consolidating, and possibly coming back down again. All right, then onto the pound. Pound dollar, remember we have the interest rate decision tonight. This almost looked like it was working out so nicely. So test, went up, tested, came back down. So it's like that. All right, so it's like that, but it didn't drop low enough. It came down to this point and it stopped. I want to find out what level that is. or rather why did it stop there? So that's the 50%, right? So from the top, that came down to the 50% level and bounced right back up. Again, I've been saying this through the week in that big resistance area again. Okay, I don't need that. I want to clear out some lines. That's my resistance area. So it tested up, came back down. It's likely that we're going to see it do that, and then I want to see it break. Right? So I would like to go 1.3250. Stop loss would be 30. Take profit, you would have 100 or 90 to the downside. 1.3250. So it's still testing the area. We don't need to put that. 1.3250. That's reject, break, down. Yes. So 1.3250. Stop loss 30. Take profit 90. Take profit 90. This, remember, is the BOE rates decision pending. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Then onto the euro. Okay, so this is what I did for euro. I didn't do that trade to the upside, right? I was busy with gold during the news. So that inverted head and shoulder, I was looking for it to break to the downside. And this actually worked out. So this was like that, where we're looking at it. We're talking about that testing higher before coming back down. So I did this trade on the euro, right? Again, it pushed up, inverted head and shoulder, oh, not inverted, head and shoulder pattern here. As it broke that point, I got into that trade. I think, no, here. I got into that trade. It was like that. What price did I get in at? Let me see. Got into the euro at 1.11 there. 20. No, yeah, 1.1120 there. I got into that as it was pushing around. I think it was that candle there, right? As it was that point, and then my stop loss was up there, 20 pips. My take profit was down to that point. No, down to that point. I was going for a big move. I thought it was going to come crashing back down. Next morning, woke up at 9 o'clock. It was outside of the Bollinger, closed out the trade. I think I closed out about 40 pips on that. So that was my 40 pip on the euro. Something I like entering. I like doing trades during the news and then entering a trade after the news, just going to sleep just to see what happens next, whether I wake up to an additional profits or not. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that you can try and do. You develop your own style. So that's what's happened on euro. We don't need that. Take that away. 61. That's broken. We can take that one away. Take that away as well. Right? So it came down to 61.8 and it's bounced back. It's sitting right at this top here. Right? It's sitting right at this top here where we've seen it test and reject several times. So done the downward move, didn't buy it back up. Now it's at this point. Dollar index is still finding that level a bit supportive, thinking that the dollar could strengthen back. What I'm looking for, not ready now. It's not ready now because the TSRI MACD is still quite far apart. I think it could sit here for a little bit. Before that, 1.1130, stop loss 25. You want it a little bit wider. Take profit down to 50, just down to this point, then maybe further downside again after that. Okay, so 1.11, we had that straddle as well there. 1.1130, stop loss 25, take profit 50. Take profit 50. There we go. Hey Noachuku, how you doing? If pound, so Diana's asking if pound climbs to the level at 1.33, hang on, let me bring that up. Pound climbs to 1.33, yes. My news drag there. I will look to short from 1.3274, 1.3274. Yeah, you can. I Uh, I would just be thinking that 1.3274 seems to be a little bit still within that area. Um, it's not that far off from 1.3250. So I think it makes sense. Um, yeah, I think you could look for it to push up. 1.3274 is right there. So that would make sense. I would kind of look for it to break down. I would still prefer that at least give a bit more, 10 more pips. I'll negotiate with you and I'll say 10 more pips, 1.3264. I might be a little bit more comfortable with that. But I was still, for me, I'll do it at 1.3250 just because I want to see it really reject that resistance before I sell down. But analysis and the idea makes sense. All right. Euro is still sitting there. Dollar is still deciding. So yes, we're looking for that push down. Can it go up? Yes. I wouldn't want to trade it up yet at this point. I think we got enough. We got a couple to the upside. We're looking at some to the downside as well. And then Euro Pound has finally done somewhat of what I expected it to do. It pushed right down. So it's pushed right down and it's come down to around that support area. Trend line doesn't matter anymore. It's sitting right across, right? So you can see if I zoom it right out, it came down, tested, bounce around this area, but break back up, bounce around this area. So it's just going to sit in here. It's going to range. Next week, we're going to change the Aussie Kiwi and the Euro Pound out for something else. Okay. So it's just sitting along that support level at 8.4. Ultimately, what you could be looking for is a bounce from 8.4, not now. A move like that back up. So you'll be looking at 8.410, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside, bounce back up. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. Okay, then on to the yen. Right, on to the yen. Look at what happened. Look at this. Right, this news 142. It was just at 142. Release of the news, dollar index came crashing down, yen came right down, right? But right out of the Bollinger. So this is why I think I said this during the session yesterday, during the live trading yesterday. Bollingers are super important. Came right down. You would have wanted to sell there, but it's outside the Bollinger. It says, wait a minute, don't sell. It comes right back into the Bollinger and pushes right back up. If you bought there, it comes right back in again. But you see the TSRI MACD crossing back up. So it traded all the way up. I did have a quick scalp to the upside. Not huge. It tested and then it's pushed back down. I think Basanta did very well on the US yen here together with BL as well. Right, so it came right back down. Take that away. I don't think that makes sense. Oh, I'm exhausted. Okay, that one's there. Sorry. Um, that 61.8. There we go. That makes sense. Okay. So we have that move up. It's not that it's tested 61.8 because that's before that. So it's come back down. I don't need this 38 anymore. All right. So that's how it's making sense right now. That's how it's making sense right now. It's at, or it's bouncing from 38.2. The way I look at it, I think that this could be a small bounce before a push back down. Look at the dollar trying to push lower. It's a bit odd that the yen is climbing slightly. So I think that we could be looking at it sitting there a little bit before pushing back down towards that 61.8 level. Could you sell it down? Yes. All right, you'll be looking at 142, stop loss 40, 45, take profit 90. That's what I'll be looking for. 45. Then I would so much I would like so much, not so much like, I would like so much for the pound, for the yen to be sitting at that 141 level in the lead up to tomorrow's news decision. Right, tomorrow BOJ news decision, if then it'll be a fantastic place, or we could do a straddle upside downside with more likelihood for the upside move. That's what I'll be looking out for. But for now, 142, 45 to 90 to the downside. Okay, US yen looking to sell at 142 or 142. Stop loss 45, take profit 90 to the downside. Yes, of course I can look at CAD yen, Diana. No worries. Okay. Yeah. Then onto the euro yen. It did exactly. It went right up. Right. We talked about it going up towards the resistance. Hit that resistance, which is also that 50% level. And then pushing back down a bit. Euro dollar is climbing. Maybe that's why it's pulling the euro yen up and hence pulling the US yen slightly to the upside. But what I'm looking out for here will be that test reject. Right? So yen, euro yen, test and reject of that resistance. Bit of a high, this is a bit high risk, higher risk. But what I could be looking for here would be 159.20 20, stop loss 50, take profit, you have it back down to that point. No, hang on. Yeah, I will have it back down to that point. That's about a 50% level. Yeah, okay, cool. So test, reject, resistance, push down. The trend line is there. Could make sense, but possibly going to break lower, especially if the US yen starts dragging to the downside as well. So we could see especially if the US yen starts dragging to the downside, we could see the Euro yen drag lower. Sorry guys, I'm totally cuckoo today. Then onto the pound yen, pound dollar with the news tonight. So it's 5061.8 right there. That's my resistance now turned support. Why do we have this level? It's from far away. I'll take that away for now. Okay, and I'll change this around a little bit and put that as my resistance and take that away for now. Right? Because I'm seeing those 2 points as my resistance. 61.8. There we go. Take those away. Now, as it pushes up, we have that. Pound dollar. Test. Thinking that the pound yen could also do that. So test 61 and then push back down. So that could be below 189. Below 189, which is there. We'll be looking at 188.70. Stop loss, I don't think you need that. I think you just need it above 189. And then your take profit just down to that point. I don't see a 200 pip move. I don't see a 200 pip move on the pound yen unless there's a huge move on the pound dollar. Okay, so this setup is going to be on condition that this setup happens. Then that would drag down quite nicely. Okay. Then onto the US Swiss franc, test, yes, same thing. Dollar possibly weakening back down. You're going to see it break that trend line. You look at 8430. 8430, stop loss will be tight at 20. Take profit will be 40 pips to the downside. I'm not super adventurous on this. 8430. 0.8430, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Then on to US CAD. Hey Jamil, how you doing? I'm sure Jamil made a big killing. Dinah, we spoke about the US CAD this last night and during the live stream, right? So we're very keen on this to break out of that area. And you see that it's done that, it's breaking. It's slightly outside because of the dot, but that's fine. I think that in 5 minutes, if the candle closes like that or slightly retraced, then I would be quite keen at 1.3560, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside, and possibly even more as well. Okay, so 1.3560, 20 to 40. Can you go 60? Do 40 first. Okay, 20 to 40 to the downside. Okay, cool. Jamil said yesterday I played both sides on gold and fantastic. Fantastic. I'm super happy. Um, that one I'm looking for that to bounce and push back down again. Come back slightly into the Bollinger, then have a good push to the downside, driven lower by the dollar index pushing lower. Good. Then look at gold. Right? So gold worked exactly as planned, right? So we had that. I did a sneaky move on gold before the news. So just before the news, it was sitting at 25, 25.75. I just went and go, yeah, I'm going to do a small trade. I sold it. It didn't do anything. No, it was there. 2568. Yeah. So I sold it just before the news. And then within a split second, it shot up and hit me, stopped me out. Right. Then it continued pushing up. As it was pushing higher, did a quick scalp to the upside, looking at that 2600 level, tested 26 and it's moved exactly. I didn't even adjust this line. It's gone right up to 2600, tested and rejected all the way back down to 2550, exactly where we're headed. So this again was something that I got into after the session. Oh no, actually during the session, I was selling that towards the end of the session, sell that, had my stop loss at break even as it was pushing down, went to sleep. Next moment, it went back up and closed me out at break even. So that's fine. I was hoping that I would wake up the next morning and gold would have been like down to 2500. It was wishful thinking, but just worth a shot. Right? So that pushed and that's done. So now with gold, we're back down to this point. We got a wider, slightly wider range. 38.2, take it away. Jamil says now I am waiting for it to come into your zone. Analysis is ready. Okay. Oh, that's for WTI. Okay, cool. I think I think gold currently at 2584 could retest 2600. Maybe even break and get to another all-time high. Right? So gold currently at 25.85, 84 point something, 85, could trade higher to 2600 and even form new all-time high. Alrighty. 2600 is very strong, but what I'm anticipating is that it does right out, or it goes right there, out, maybe not so much, and then back down again, like that. Just go up to trap some um, moves and then come right back down again. Okay. Now on to CAD yen. Where is it? Okay, here. CAD yen. Big move. That's the big move with the 38.2. Yes. I remember again we're thinking that CAD could come significantly to the downside. So it tested, it's rejected, that seems to be crossing down. Now at this point here, I think CAD yen could consolidate here for a little bit, right? Could consolidate here for a little bit and then look to break down. So it's gonna sit in here, right? Very similar to what it did here before breaking lower. So I'll see it do that, then it break that trend line to the downside, which is where I would be looking at to push down. So 104.65. Stop loss would be about 60. Take profit would be back down to this point here, which is about there. So you have about 80, so about almost a 1:1 or slightly more than a 1:1 to the downside. The test, you could, I know Dyna is going to be a little bit more aggressive. Look to get in a little bit earlier, just below that 105 level. So 104.90, stop loss 45, take profit 100 to the downside. That's what I would think for the CAD yen. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Put it into the chat. Let me know. It's 4 o'clock now. It's 5, 6. Just about before 7 o'clock. I'll go live again with the BOE interest rate decision. I don't think that'll be a long stream. That might be a 30-minute stream because we'll see the news, we'll see the number, we'll see the reaction, and see what happens. All right, there's no press conference, there's no big statements and all that kind of stuff. If they don't change rates, if they change rates, then it could be a whole fireworks and a lot of things to do. So I will turn that on public. I'll change that to a public one just to share more with you guys. So please, please, please trade well, trade safe. Again, if you haven't already, mailing list is there. Jump onto the mailing list. Lindy likes the trading psychology ebook that I've written and sent out to many of you guys. If you want that, get onto the mailing list. We'll send that out to you as well. Okay? Please take care. I'll see you all later and then also tomorrow. Take care now. Bye bye.